Welcome back to The Practical Woodsman. I'm Rhett, the creator and host of The Practical Woodsman. That's right, it's my incomprehensible genius which brought this all into existence. About 15 years ago, I made my own backpack, and I wanted to show it off to you and tell you some things I learned about it, some things I'd do different, some things I like about the way I did it, some changes that I would make nowadays, and so forth. But I was just digging around through some bunch of my stuff here today, and I come across this old backpack that I made, and I wanted to show her off. Before we get into that, we got to do the musical introduction to get us all in the mood. Winkety winkety. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. That's right. Put a camp up right here. Well, this is very spontaneous. Like I said, I was just digging through a bunch of my gear here. I got stuff strewn about everywhere. But I come across this old backpack that I made. You should be seeing it here on the camera. And I wanted to tell you how I did it, would I recommend it, those sorts of things. You know, it's very hard. It's very, very difficult. The more experienced you get with being out in the woods and using certain types of gear and everything, it's really hard to find exactly the thing, the tool, the piece of gear that you like. What I mean is, if you buy a backpack, there's always something that you think could be better about it. The main backpack that I'm using right now, I bought about 7-8 years ago, and there are things I really like about it, but there are a lot of things that I don't like about it too. And I just think, if I worked for one of these companies where I had access to all the different materials and the design software and stuff like that, you know, if I could have my own team, I'd love to just sit down with a team like that and say, listen, my backpack needs to have this, it needs to have this, it needs to have this other thing. And the same goes for like knives and boots and all sorts of things like that. So about 15 years ago, maybe even more than that, I said, I want to make my own backpack and see how that turns out. And so I had various ideas in mind when I set out to make this backpack. I wanted it to have a roll down top, where you could just roll it down, clip it, and be done with it. I really hate backpacks that have like a hood, and they put pockets in the hoods and stuff like that. I really don't like that. I think they're ugly. I think they're complex. They make things complex to get in and out of the bag, and I just don't like them. So I really like roll down tops. Another thing is I wanted plenty of organization pockets on the outside. And I wanted a big bucket main compartment where I could put all the big stuff. But for flashlights and water bottles and stuff like that, I wanted plenty of organization pockets. So here you're looking at the backpack that I eventually made. And I made this with the help of my ex-wife, who had a lot of experience sewing. And I'll tell you what, she just about broke her sewing machine helping me make this. I'm just looking at a spider sack here. Some spiders made a sack on my buckle here. I want to get that out of there so I don't get swarmed by baby spiders while we're doing this episode here. There we go. Get that out of there. So what I did was I went to a big craft store, and I bought a big sheet of really thick cotton canvas. And so that's what you're seeing the main body of this backpack is made out of, just really thick cotton canvas. What I would do differently nowadays is I would like to wax that. So that's the only difference. I really like the cotton canvas. You know, all those old military packs and stuff were all made out of cotton canvas. Nowadays, would I use something like polyester? I might. In fact, I'd say I absolutely would. If I were to do something like this again, I think I definitely would use polyester rather than cotton. But at the time, I had another backpack. I'll show it to you. So at the time, I had an everyday backpack that I was using. It was this one right here. And I got this from Fossil. And this is cotton canvas. This backpack here is over 20 years old, and it still looks beautiful. That's that cotton canvas. I mean, it just really holds up and lasts a long time. But so I was using this every day for work and that sort of thing. I carry my stuff in here. Because I was so in love with this daily backpack, I wanted a pack to take into the deep woods that would kind of mimic some of this pack's qualities. And so that's why I went with the cotton canvas at that time. Look at the pockets here on the front, these organization pockets. Do you know where I got those pockets? I got those off an old pair of cargo pants, cotton cargo pants. I just cut the pockets off of them, and I sewed them here onto the main body of my backpack. Right here you see, that's just the back pockets off those cargo pants. And that works just real fine. If you look inside there, inside that pocket, yeah, it's just it doesn't have a back. The backpack itself forms the back of that pocket. That works real well. It's just Velcro there. Top here was the pockets on the side of the legs of those cargo pants. Also, Velcro. And those work just fine. Those sewed on there real nice. Now on the sides, you see I've got some side pockets here. Where you reckon I got those from? I got those off of an old military backpack. So I just cut those off of a backpack that I had. Those got clips right there. And now that is the full pocket. So if you look inside there, that is a full pocket, front and back and everything, and I just sewed that on there. And that holds a water bottle really good. I'm having a hard time keeping this in the camera, but let me show you a water bottle fitting into there. All right, I couldn't find a metal water bottle, but here we've got it's like a Grail bottle. Show you that fitting down in there. The Grail bottles are awfully tall, but if that were just like a Pathfinder bottle, that'd fit in there just fine and dandy. So that's what I had on the sides. It's great for carrying, again, like water bottles, filter, those sorts of things fit into these side pockets. I got one on both sides. Let's take a look at the back here. Again, the same old military backpack that I got these side pockets off of is where I got these straps. So I just sewed these onto the back as the straps for my backpack. That worked out real good. You see these very thick, like belt strips here. You can see here just how difficult it was for my ex-wife to get her sewing machine to go through this really thick material right here, but she did it, and she did a dadgum good job of it too. It's really held up well. I got the belt and these clips, I think I got those off of an old like carpenter's work belt, and so I used that for my roll down top and the buckle there that latches that. And I use that also as a support on the back for the backpack and arm straps to be sewed into for extra strength, so that wouldn't just rip eventually the cotton canvas. Thing's really well made. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm surprised at how good a job I did at this. Let's open this thing up. Oh, one thing I would change. You see this big, thick belt here that I used for the roll down top. I thought I needed that kind of girth that kind of real thick weight there to make the roll down top work effectively. That's one thing I would change. It doesn't need to be as big as it is. And that buckle right there doesn't need to be as big as it is. So if I were doing this again today, I'd use a much lighter weight belt and one that doesn't have quite so much girth there. All right, so now we've got the thing unrolled, and I'm going to open her up there so you can see what the inside of that pack looks like. Now here's another thing I wouldn't do the same, because it just adds weight, but I liked at that time backpacks, cotton backpacks with like a flannel lining on the inside. And so I made sure to make my backpack with that flannel lining on the inside. It's not just cotton canvas. What I did was, once I had that made and formed and everything, then on the inside I included this really soft flannel lining on the inside. And you know, it's pretty. I just think it's unnecessary, and I wouldn't do that again. It just adds weight. And it's, you know, the backpack is not heavy. It's lighter than a lot of, you know, modern backpacks. But it's just unnecessary. So I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't add that inner flannel lining. I hope that's showing up. You guys can see that all right. One last thing, well, not one last thing, but another thing I'll show you is that inside the backpack, what I did was I took a plastic trash can and I cut one side off that plastic trash can to the size of the back of my backpack. That was to form my frame, the inner frame of my backpack. So you can't see it in here, but you see how I'm holding that up? You see that? That's rigid. That's rigid because I've got that plastic sheet that I cut off of an old trash can in there. And so that's what keeps the backpack's shape. When you put that on, it holds firm against your back like that. It gives that backpack structure. What I'm going to do here in a minute is I'm going to stuff into the backpack, put it on, show you what it looks like. Did I ever use this backpack? Yes, I did. I used this backpack in the middle of winter to backpack the entire Maryland portion of the AT, the Appalachian Trail. And I'll be showing some pictures here of me doing that. You should be able to see this backpack in the pictures, and it worked just fine. It was real comfortable. There's another thing that I wish I would have done different. I didn't include a chest strap with this. So I've got the arm straps, but one of my failures was not including a chest strap system on that, and another failure was that I didn't include, oh yeah, I did. I couldn't remember if I had included the waist strap. I actually did include a waist strap. So it does have the waist strap, it does not have the chest strap. It's interesting that I overlooked that. So that's definitely what that needs. If you're going to build your own backpack, I would recommend doing a chest strap, because I know you go to these outfitter stores, they tell you that you want to carry all the weight on your hips. I totally disagree with that. I think that's stupid, and I think it's wrong. I've done that, and it really wears out your hips and your spine and everything. I think the much more important place to carry the most of the weight of your backpack is on your chest, at least for guys. So I like to have a nice chest strap nowadays and carry the primary weight with my chest and some of it on my hips, but not primarily on my hips. Don't like that at all. Don't agree with the so-called experts. I don't agree with them. Let's see. Let's shove some stuff into this, and I'll show you what it looks like. You know, there's another thing I'd say about this. If I could do it over, another thing that I would include in this backpack is a back loop. When make it right here. Yeah, let me show you what I mean. Here's my daily backpack carry. You see that loop right there? That makes things awfully easy when you just want to grab that and move it around. And I wish I would have included one of those into my design here on my backpack too, but you know, that's something I would do different. Very comfortable backpack. But you can see how if I had the chest strap right here that I could connect, that would make that even better. But it carried weight real well, and I'm pleased to death that that I had included this waist strap that I'd completely forgotten that I'd put on there. Yeah. So, and you can see how that, hopefully, how that, what do they call that? That internal frame, just that thick plastic off that trash can that I cut and put in there, helps that thing maintain its shape just fine. You know, I can keep my maps and flashlights and knives and compasses and everything in these pockets. I love that. I love the size of it. I'd say it's probably about a 50-liter backpack. I didn't measure it out or anything, but I'm just guessing based on my familiarity with other backpacks. So there you go. Again, some of the changes I would make, I'd like this to be waxed to repel rain. That's one change I'd make. I'd make the roll down top. I'd make that belt there and that buckle much smaller. It doesn't need to be as huge as it is. I might dye the cotton canvas to like an earthy green or a brown or something, but you know, I kind of like it the way it is, just all natural like that too. And I would take out, I wouldn't include the inner liner there. That flannel lining, I wouldn't include that because it's just not necessary. The cotton canvas by itself is strong enough. Yeah, the flannel linings, it's nice. You got to admit, that looks nice. It's just not necessary. So anyway, folks, there's my my homemade backpack. I hope I have given you some ideas about that. You don't want to use like your girlfriend's, little sewing machine for it. You want a kind of a more powerful, stronger type of sewing machine to get through some of these buckles and some of this thicker stuff. Or maybe you'd want to do a project like this and do it all by hand. That might be something interesting too. Do I think I'll ever make my own backpack again? Probably not, because I've done it. I've had the experience. I'm satisfied. I've got that experience in the bank. I know what it's like. But if I were recommending other people, if somebody else were going to do it, I'd have some advice to give them as far as making it easier, making it better, leaving certain things out, including other things, and all that. So anyway, I'll show off some photos here if I haven't already to close down this show. And I'll see you all next time in the next exclusive video for the Practical Woodsman. Y'all take care. Thanks for joining me.